Today, I am here with the jack of all trades, somebody that has done everything and has been with Pinpoint for 7 years plus. She's done marketing, she's hired operations, she's done invoicing. She was here at the infancy of this company, and now I'm just glad to have her here managing and directing the marketing department. I am here with the greatest, a legend, Danielle Petty.
Not a legend. What an intro.
Legend.
What an intro.
Thank you for being here today, Danielle. How you feeling?
Thank you for giving me, some time away from the computer. I'm feeling wonderful, amazing, actually. So I'm glad to be here and have this conversation.
Wonderful. Well, thank you for coming. A lot of folks have been asking me, and I'm sure they've been asking you, why did we decide to go into podcasting? What made us start a podcast? And you had this great idea of, hey, we need to let them know why we're doing this.
Absolutely.
And what we're about. So we're here today.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and they have. They've been asking, and they're like, oh, it's another podcast. But, what I've been urging people to understand, it's not just another podcast, right? And everybody says it. Every new podcast comes out, they say they're not just another podcast.
Yeah.
But, why not? Why not a podcast? Why not give ourselves a platform to really expand our voices, right? The industry that we're in, what other platform do we have?
Yeah.
So why wait for one?
Yeah.
We can build our own. So
hey, that's what we've been doing. We've been building our own of everything.
Exactly.
A thought that come to my mind, and a lot of folks ask why a podcast, and I think about how society has changed, how everything is online, how there's social media. And there is a sense of social equity, social capital. I think about how there used to be something called the American dream, which, it's still around. It's just evolved, right?
Right.
It used to be where you buy a home and then that value of that home soar, and then you gain wealth that way. But now it's really in how you engage and interact online. It's really about what you own. Ownership, even your own name, right?
Yeah.
Your brand, you can talk to us even a little more about that, but it's a lot of money that could be made off of that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think when we first met, I was just your consultant before I came on board full time. That was my focus in dealing with clients, was really paying attention to their brand.
Yeah.
Right. It was branding the individual, because at the end of the day, the brand goes around who you are. You're the face of the company, and to your point, everything today is you are your own brand.
Yeah.
Right. So the scenario has shifted. The conversation has shifted over time.
Yeah.
Right. So why not? We got to do things like this.
Yeah.
We got to, give ourselves the opportunity to really be heard in a way that we want to be heard, and not somebody tailoring our voices to what should be heard.
You hit it right on the head. Don't let nobody else tell your story.
Exactly.
You should be telling your own story.
That part.
And now you have the opportunity to do that. Why not take advantage of it?
Exactly. And then here we are,
And here we are.
Pinpoint Media.
Yeah.
Pinpoint Media.
So, you mentioned earlier, like, why, a podcast in such a saturated market of podcasting. And my thoughts behind that is, podcasts nowadays, even the algorithms have changed. It's more about educational topics. This is a place where people come to learn something new, learn how to build a business, learn how to scale the business, learn how to do something that's going to make you more money. And I think it's the perfect platform to not only tell your story, but just to make your mark. What's your thoughts behind that?
I think you hit the nail on the head, because it is. When you look at all of the different podcasts you listen to every day, I tell you all the time how much I listen to Breakfast Club.
Yeah.
Right. And I listen to, Drink Champs and a couple of other things. Right. But I listen to all those different podcasts for a reason. I'm getting something out of it, because we're so busy, we get detached from what's going on around us, because we're so siloed and focused on what we got going on. But if I tap into Breakfast Club, I'm getting my updated news. I'm getting what's going on in entertainment.
Facts.
I'm getting about what's the new book, everything we're doing outreach wise. even with like the mental health awareness stuff that Charlemagne does in New York every year.
Yeah.
I think that's amazing.
Yeah, who's the new donkey of the day? Is it Pooh Shiesty?
It's probably Pooh Shiesty. I'm pretty sure it's Pooh Shiesty. Actually, I think I saw
or is it his pops?
I think it's both. If I had to give the donkey of the day, and not wait till Friday, it would be both of them. But it just makes sense, right, for us to do this. Whether it's saturated or not, you can still stand out in a crowded, noisy spot. Yeah. Everybody does it all the time. Our conversation is not every other conversation. It might be similar,
right? But
nobody's in our industry. Who knows about civil engineering in our communities?
True. So, and even if you start a business, how do you stand out, right? What's your niche? What's your differentiator? What's going to make people come to you?
Right.
At the end of the day, and you mentioned engineering, I think we're doing a lot of things that's different and that sets us apart from other companies. So
absolutely.
That's important. And that's all a part of that brand and marketing piece.
Yeah, absolutely. Because in this industry, by this industry being one of the oldest in engineering, right? The traditional marketing is kind of like not traditional. Marketing is not as people think it is in this industry. And because everything is so mundane in a way, we have to be the ones to at least step outside the box.
Yeah.
I think the best moment for me as a marketer in this industry and for this company and Pinpoint is when you told me, okay, Danielle, now we can do whatever we want to do. Right? Because before we were marketing inside of a box, trying to be industry appropriate. But in order for us to get Pinpoint out there, in order for people to see that we're doing things in our own way, but still stay industry appropriate, we had to do something that was so untraditional in this industry. So and you did that. I said, hey, Danielle, go. It's time. That's all I was waiting on.
It, but now you got other firms stealing your ideas, and I'm seeing, what other people are posting and what they're doing. And I heard a couple of other firms even announcing that they're going to move into the podcast space as well. So
we trendsetters.
It's about leadership. It's about, not worrying about what everybody else think. It's about being true to your brand, being true to your company. The values, the culture of the company. Yeah. So, movers and shakers, and we want to see everybody win.
Absolutely. But more important than that, it's a team effort, right? I can bring the idea to the table all day long, right? But it takes the team. It takes you, the president, to see that vision. And when you see that vision and you're like, okay, yeah, I see this. Yeah. Let's go. That makes it easier, right? Yeah. Everybody don't got that. So thank you, right? As much as you want to give me my flowers, I got to give you yours right back because, we can't do this without you saying, yes, Danielle. Yeah. Well, not right now, Danielle. Maybe wait a little later, Danielle. Yeah. Right? Everything in time, Danielle. We all understand that because, I'm a go. Right. You tell me I'm the lady, make it happen. You tell me, let's do it. But the team effort is really what makes this whole thing possible.
Oh, for sure. And it's everything in its due time. A lot of owners, they have tunnel vision. They're not open to or receptive to new ideas and change. Change always feels strange and weird for a lot of folks. So, I thrive in that environment because that's the only way we're gonna excel and win. So I push the entire team to change and evolve and develop, get uncomfortable.
Yeah, you have to be. The world is changing and evolving every day. Yeah. Right. If you don't change and evolve, you're gonna be stuck and stagnant. Right. Yeah. We don't want to be stuck and stagnant. We have to keep moving. The only way we elevate is through growth. So if you're not changing and if you're not elevating, it's a problem. You need to recheck your business plan. But it's worth it at the end of the day to take the risk on yourself first. Yeah. You did that when you started Pinpoint. You took the risk, and then you took further risks, and you take risks every day.
Oh, for sure.
Every time we turn these lights on, we taking a risk, right? So, but you stepped out there, and that was the first part. That's the first part that makes this brand, because you started it without your soul focused on the bottom line. And so that's what makes this even better.
Yeah. And, a lot of folks ask me, why did I start Pinpoint, right? So, I mean, I started it because a few reasons, right? You have seen opportunity, but the biggest thing was, how do I make an impact in the community? How do I get people from my community interested in civil engineering? How do they learn about it? How do I get them on these projects and on these jobs? And what better way to do that than by starting your own firm where you can hire people, you can connect with the community, and you can engage. And that's something that we've been doing here. This isn't Bimpa's engineering firm. This is Pinpoint Precision Engineering, right? I named it something that I felt was bigger than me. It's about being precise. It's about being on point with it. So, yeah, Pinpoint Precision Engineering is really something that, I created to make an impact.
I mean, well, it goes to your point. I mean, I am no civil engineer, right? We met in a community outreach space, during the pandemic, right? We started working in a nonprofit space together, and you was like, "Nah, I need you to come on over here and work me at Pinpoint."
You was too sharp. I'm like, nah,
I mean, so when you think back to it, I mean, you took a layman person and taught them, right? So, I mean, I tell people all the time, when you have a person that actually is walking the walk, right? They're not just talking. Yeah. They doing both, talking and walking it, right? It's easy to support something like that. Because I get asked all the time, how could you give up LT consultants for Pinpoint? I'm like, listen, you don't understand, it's bigger than that.
Yeah.
Right. And I was doing it by myself. And when you came to me and say, hey, you ain't got to do this by yourself.
Right.
I was like, facts, you're right. Let's have a conversation. I mean, it made it that when I saw what you were doing, it made it, that much easier. I went home and spoke to my mother about it. And I was like, man, I just met this new client. And she was just like, are you in it for the bottom line? Or are you in it because it's what you want to do? Are you passionate about it? That's how you make your next move.
Yeah.
That was the best move I made.
Yeah. And it worked out for both. Bottom line and passion. So
yeah, it did.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's really what it's about at the end of the day. It's, I think we shoot ourselves in the foot by not working together. A lot of times we feel like we need to be that main person or that, that owner and that CEO. Prior to starting this company, I was looking to join a firm where I was like, hey, I just want to come and build up and lead this particular department. I'll build it. You just, sit back and, I just want a percentage of the proceeds, of course, but let's, work some things out, and you'll be surprised how greedy folks get when they get into business and they get into a certain space and they feel like, nah, I built this. So it's funny because, the firms that I'm even thinking about, they all went under. And you could have been a firm with a diverse portfolio, moving and shaking across the country, but you let your own greed and selfishness sabotage your own business. So I learned a great lesson, and I was like, nah, that'll never be me. If we get some go-getters, hey, we definitely gonna bring them in. So that's why you're here.
I mean, well, and I appreciate it. I mean, because I'm definitely I look at things in a way where it's strength is in numbers, right? And, too often people get hung up on titles, in our community. Unfortunately, it's who's outshining who and who's doing better than the next person, right? It's not about how can we collaborate. Where's the connectors?
Oh, yeah.
Right. If we get to that, then we can do wonders.
Facts.
But, when we stop trying to compete against each other and work with each other, I think that's where the change will come. But that's even why, even when I read your first book, right, the Can We Be Honest About Money?
Oh, yeah.
I knew nothing about stocks, right? Now, most people during that time was making a ton of money off of Doji. Right? Look,
Out today, people.
Right.
Go get your copy on Amazon.
People were making crazy money off Dogecoin at that time. I knew nothing about this stuff. But I read this book. I joined your group. I turned $100 into $14,000 in a month. Less than a month, probably. But I was like, wow, like, this guy's onto something. Like, let me follow him some more. Then when we got connected and you came on our live stream, I was like, oh yeah, we got to work together. Like, it was, sure. I mean, but that was identifying, you know, strengths, right?
Yeah.
I identified my weakness, what I didn't know. And you saw something in me that you know you needed on your team. I mean, but if it was more of that going on in our business environment, it can be, you know, 100 or more pinpoint precision engineering. And, you know, but we'll get there, I guess, at one point, right? Until then, we just gonna keep pushing it, you know, the door, letting people see how it looks. Right, we got to show our youth, you know, what success looks like from the ground up,
and collaboration. What it looks like. What does it look like to work together? Right,
successfully.
Successfully, right. Like you said, identifying strengths, where you're strong at, identifying the weakness where someone else can come in and add value to. We need that just to make sure that we're successful. And you're absolutely correct. Too many folks are hung up on receiving awards, receiving all types of accolades, their titles. But, you know, at the end of the day, for me, it's always been, but what does your bank account look like?
That part.
Right? Like, we're doing all these different things, but economically, where do you land? So I could care less about, you know, the title. I don't need the title. I just want to be the individual that I'm investing, I'm learning. I don't mind starting from ground up. Right. You have to fall in love with the process. And I think, you know, I couldn't say it any better than you said it.
Yeah, and I think, you know, it's all about putting your money where your mouth is sometimes.
Yeah,
right?
That too.
It's, you know, not just the most successful people are not, in my opinion, don't come from because they make the most money. It's because they've made that bag. They got to the bag. And then they decide, what can I do with this bag other than just, you know, go on trip, shop, you know, buy cars, homes. What can I do with this bag? How can I reinvest it? Because that's truly how you keep your money. That's true wealth, when you know how to get it and flip it and keep it flipping, right?
Exactly.
People don't understand that because people get so happy with quick riches that they don't think about long-term goals or residual income at that point. Yeah. So, you know, I think we connect because we have common goals, right? We both have a passion for our community. We love where we come from. We love to get to the bag.
Oh yeah, facts.
You
That's
know,
that
we
common
want
denominator.
Right. We understand what hard work looks like. We understand that you can't build Rome by yourself. Yeah. Right. So when people understand that, then they'll be in a better position.
Facts. You know? I think, you know, we're blessed to be here, and a lot of people are blessed to be in certain positions. But as you get too comfortable, you know, you got to understand that if you're not giving back and reaching back and pouring into others, all of that can be wiped away. And I think it happens time and time again, but people don't realize why. Because at the end of the day, when it's all said and done, we die. All of your riches go back into a box like Monopoly. Game starts all the way over.
Exactly.
Right? It's up for grabs for somebody else. So, yeah.
I forgot how you said it, but it was centered around how we move in this world, right? How we move financially in business, how the risk you take, you know, it was centered around all of that. I'm not going to try to remember you verbatim, but at the end of the day, I think if we continue on the path that we're on, I mean, we're setting up success, right? And somebody was asking me about the book, the new book, How to Become a Civil Engineer, Bridging the Gap. And it was something in the book that when I first read it after you finished, before it even got published, I think the thing that stood out to me the most was that defining your why. And that if you don't have a seat at the table, you're on the menu. And when I look at how you built Pinpoint up and the people that you've brought in and the team, right? Yeah. It's giving people a seat at the table, you know, and when you don't understand what that means, it goes way over your head, right? Yeah. So like when I saw that in the book, I was like, yes, Michael, like tell him about it, you know. And that just, you know, people ask me all the time, what's your why? I said, I can't speak for him. So let's tell the people, what's your why? Like, why?
You know, I think the why always evolve. I mean, that's a great question. Prior to getting into engineering and starting my firm, the why was just to be financially sound and stable, to be able to support a family, to achieve the American dream, but most importantly, to achieve freedom, right? And freedom to me is being able to do whatever you want to do with your time. So that's really, even still to today, that's my why. But because I achieved so many other things on that list, as far as being financially free and just really making sure I can take care of my family, move my mom out the hood, right? These different things. I can finally turn and my why evolve into, what does it look like for the next generation? How can I make an impact for the community? How can I make sure these young people know that they don't have to be an entertainer or they don't just have to play sports? There's other ways of making a lot of money out here. And right now, they're just not getting the education, the mentorship, the guidance, and that's what I want to dedicate my life to, is really making sure they have access to individuals that know how to get that bag. So that way they're like, okay, wait a minute, this is another path.
Exactly.
And it's an easier path. It's less competition. I just got to stay focused and put my mind to it.
Yeah. I mean, I think that also comes with making sure that, we work at adjusting their mindset, right?
Oh, yeah.
Because today's youth, in some aspects, right, working hard is too much.
Yeah.
Right. Unless it's working hard to be, streaming and getting on the stream or Stitch or YouTube or, whatever the new platform is to stream and become an influencer, because they saw the money that can be made from it. Right.
And it's even way harder work than
it is, because that content don't stop. You got to have the right content. You got to know how to really brand yourself. You had to know all these things, right? And it's not easy. It's not easy. It's not easy at all. And even with my mentorship, mentoring aspiring business owners through a board that you introduced me to through SBAC Empower, speaking to some of the business owners, it's just like asking them their why, what makes them get up every day, right? And having them understand what it takes, what it really takes to sustain that business and scale. Some of them don't even have the full bandwidth and energy or want to hit it every day and grind out every day. But yeah, you're a different kind of story though. You're a different kind of story though. But I think that's what makes all of this, what we're doing here, just even better. Because it's worth it at the end of the day.
Yeah. Smaller businesses like ours provide the opportunity to engage with local schools, engage with local businesses, those boys and girls clubs that may need new uniforms. It's the smaller firms that are donating and they're showing up to present and speak. Young people really need to look at this thing differently, because when AI and all of this, like you look at something such as Amazon and how Amazon had warehouses all across Illinois, and the state paid them close to $1 billion to set up these big old warehouses, and they said, we're going to hire people and we're going to bring people in. Now you look, and I don't even think it was 5 years later, most of their workforce is robots.
Yeah, iRobot Bob is taking your packages from aisle 1 to aisle 2,
Drones, robots. You have to really look and understand where we headed. And you have to make sure that you're putting yourself in the right spaces.
Yeah, and that's exactly why I love that we made sure that we stayed on you about PSF, about Pinpoint Scholars Foundation.
Yeah.
Right. We made sure we got to wait. We got so much to do. But I think it was the time. I don't think, I think for us, because we had our hand on, on the pulse when we knew, right, when certain things came down, when the DBE stuff was changing for our industry and really affected minority business owners. We were talking about that before it happened.
Yeah.
We were positioning ourselves to say, what if we grow out of this?
Yeah.
What if this ever goes away? Like, what will we do? We made sure our pivot plan was in place. And that's what people don't do, right? And to your point with AI, with PSF, with Pinpoint Scholars Foundation, having AI driven solutions, programming, right? It's important because you have to get in front of this. These kids need to get in front of it because what they don't understand and what they don't pay attention to, they just hear the rhetoric going on about what's going on in government. But if they really understand, if they ask the questions, if they really listen to the parents or some of their mentors or read up on it themselves and just pay attention, they'll see that what's going on right now can affect them 5, 10 years, 20 years later.
It will.
You know, and if they don't know about it, then they're going to be late. They're going to be behind the 8 ball. Yeah. Right? And so the fact that we're kicking off Pinpoint Scholars Foundation the way we are and the type of programming and the type of efforts that we're doing, the partnerships we're building, I mean, I think it's a beautiful scenario to a messy environment. So,
very messy, but, you know, we've been blessed to have a lot of interest. Mainly community interest. We're waiting for more corporations to jump on board and give back to these communities that patron and do business with these corporations. But we can go on for days, but I want to give you time. You know, I know you have some questions for me specifically, so I want to make sure I give you time to ask. So what questions do you have?
I mean, some of my questions we kind of answer through conversation, you know. Okay. I set up my responses on purpose that way. That's that marketing genius in me, right? Right. No, but if I had any question, past the obvious questions we've been getting about why this Pinpoint podcast, which we answered, you know, I want to really tap into your business side, right? The serial, I call you a serial entrepreneur. I mean,
do you?
Yes, I do, because that's what you are. Just
I'm
own
really
it.
Tunnel vision. I don't like to do too much. Right? I got 1,000 ideas, but I try and stick to 4 or 5. And we doing half of them. No, I'm just playing. But no, seriously, when it comes to the business side, like the Michael Bemper brand, right? The business owner, the social advocate, the community impact outreach guy, what is it that drives you every day? Like, what is that thing that lights your fire in a chaotic world every day to keep going? I would say just enjoying what I do. Like, I think it's the passion of making an impact on other people's lives, providing jobs, providing opportunities. There is an intrinsic reward that you get when you are doing good things and good deeds. And it's one thing to pursue your passion, and then that passion turns into profit, and then it solely becomes about you, and you're just spending money and you're moving and shaking, and you know you're living that glamorous life. But it's another thing to make it and then just give it, right? To make sure that other people are good, people around you are good. Like I think you get a better quality of life and even quality of living just solving problems and tackling issues. Okay. I'm just a type of individual. I just want, I'm a problem solver. So I just want to solve problems. I want to grow. I want to do self-development day in and day out until I become the best that I can be. So that's what drives me.
I mean, and that's awesome. I'm glad you said all of that, because I think that kind of leads into the next question. And my last question, and I'll flip it back. What if you, in your own words, or if you had to say, what is the biggest misconception or misunderstanding that people have for people in your position?
There's so many misunderstandings and misconceptions about being a business owner. Number one, people think it's easy. I mean, that's hands down. But 80% of businesses fail in the first 5 years, right?
But you've made it almost, 10.10?
Almost 10.
Almost 10.
So, there's a lot of misconceptions. Folks feel like, hey, it's all about making money and all you got to do is get the clients. Like, business is just this very complex, intricate web that everything has to work together, and it has to be timed perfectly in order for it to be a success and in order for you to grow. I think people just think they're just making money, hand over fist. Number one, we didn't have access to capital to start the business, right? And, you need money to start a business. You need something. Access to capital, access to getting contracts and opportunities. You've seen all the things that we've had to do even just to get our first start. Then you got employees that want to come in and they want to make all the money in the world and they want to do next to nothing, especially on the tail end of the pandemic where everything was work from home, right? The big companies like, nah, you can just, stay at home and work. So it's not easy because everyone's trying to rip you off. Absolutely. Everyone, right? The employees trying to get as much money as they can while doing as little as possible. The client is trying to get as much as they can out of you while paying the least as possible. And you're stuck somewhere in the middle trying to figure out how do I balance everything for it to work.
And the sad part is you can't make everybody happy. No. Right? You can't make everybody happy. So I know, from a business owner standpoint, like I don't envy your position at Pinpoint Precision Engineering at all. But I do understand it. And I think that's what makes it easier for me to be, in the position I'm in here with you, to have somebody to bounce that stuff off of.
Oh, for sure.
And be able to, let the team know, hey, look, and I think that's even why, like even us bringing the team together recently and, our version of giving them a seat at the table when, I came to you, I said, we need to bring them in and let them know what it takes to run this company. Yeah. Like how they get their checks every 2 weeks, right? Yeah. So they can understand what we're doing.
Yeah, and that was a great event, by the way, just bringing them in and showing them the business, showing them how everything worked. And you've been in the fire with me, so you're making most of these decisions, especially if I'm out or I'm doing something.
Man,
so
and when you're out, I'm like, come back, please. Okay.
Yeah. So I mean, it just, that's what it is. But any other thoughts or any other questions off the top of your head?
Nah.
If not, I got questions for you.
Yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and let you put me in the hot seat.
Yeah. Let me throw you in the hot seat. So first, I'm gonna just break it in. Yeah. What does Danielle like to do for fun? Because all we see is Danielle working.
Oh
you
my
goodness. work. So we just want to know what you do to, let your head down.
Oh my God. I'm now a dog mom. So
really? Okay.
Yeah, for me, I'm a homebody, to be quite honest. Like it's so much that we do on a regular basis. When I park my car at home, oh my goodness, my fiance is like, we gotta go out and do stuff together. I'm like, watch a movie with me. Like, right. I love to cook, right? So being at home and keeping our home, comfortable. I love to cook. I love to take care of my family. So,
that's admirable.
That's where I'm at. Like, and I never thought I would be there,
Man.
Because I used to be in these streets.
Y'all should have seen the Danielle I knew. I ain't never getting married. I don't need no man. Like, you was really with it. I was
I was, black girl power, all of that.
Now to see you in your soft girl era is crazy.
It took somebody that kind of like gets you, right? When you meet that person, you gotta kind of like, I guess I give this a try, but it went from I guess I give this a try to, oh yeah, this is what we doing, right?
Okay.
So
that's dope. That's what's up.
But even before, and being engaged and, starting this new life, like the best part of me, I love to be like, I love to cook, shop, be at home. Like I just makes it even better.
Okay. Next question. Give us your best pinpoint moment and your worst pinpoint moment.
That's a loaded question, Michael Bimpa.
Hey, I'm here for it.
My best pinpoint moment was sitting at the Soho House with you, and you slid that paper across the table and you said, this is what I can do right now. But I need you on the team. I'm not signing another consulting contract. I need you on the team. Because at that time, I don't think I needed that, right? Because I needed to understand, people understand, like, I see you. I see what you're doing.
Right.
Because I've done so much for people. And people don't always give you your flowers when you need them, right? Yeah. So that spoke volumes to me. And I think my worst moment at Pinpoint is having to basically tear the walls down and rebuild.
Yeah.
You know, restructuring was no joke. It was frustrating.
Yeah.
So yeah, I would say that.
Yeah, restructure had to happen though, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But not like that.
And why did the restructure have to happen?
I mean, to keep it light. When people come in and they don't understand what it really takes to keep this thing floating, and they leave it in dismay, it causes for a restructuring.
Yeah.
Right? I think some things in transition of people leaving and coming, the trust factor was put in place, and I think people took advantage of that.
Yeah.
And it forced us to have to do that. So
yeah, so even with that, and you hit on a great point, because businesses, it evolve, and owners and presidents and founders, they have to evolve with it. One thing that I also know is a misconception is people out there, especially employees, do not know how many times a owner has been burnt by employees, right? I've had situations where, we've got brand new 2024, 2025 vehicles. People done stole the vehicle, right? Didn't want to return the vehicle. I had to go show up, file police reports, get attorneys involved. People want to come in and they want a certain type of autonomy, but don't realize that somebody has already, they've come into the company and already just destroyed the trust factor, whereas now policies and procedures then become strict, and it has to evolve with the times, right? So not too strict to the point where, hey, we don't give everyone a shot to be who they are and to evolve and to thrive, but at the same time, we can't give the leeway to where systems are then dismantled and left in
in disarray.
Exactly.
Keeping it light, right?
Yes.
I mean,
yes.
but yes, I mean, and we ask for that way. We ask for, as team members, because we've all been on the other side of the table before. I think where we mesh well at is because we met each other on a level of business owner to business owner.
Yeah.
Right. Yes, I'm providing you a service, and at no means necessary will I ever compare what I was doing to what civil engineering is. But being a business owner, I understood the risk involved. I understood the pressure, the responsibilities, and not everybody get that.
Yeah.
Right. So the hard decisions that you might not want to make, that you have to make. But people want you to trust. Your team wants you to trust. But you did that. Now we've learned a lesson, right?
Yeah. I mean, and it's funny because I try and keep an open mind. I mean, I knew the outcome, but also as an owner, you have to allow room for losses. And part of that loss is allowing your employees to learn, allowing them to fail in the controlled environment, because you don't want the failure to be too big where you can't bounce back. But you have to allow them to try some things their way, fail, and then learn from that failure. Hopefully they learn from that failure, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, nobody's perfect. Mistakes will happen.
Oh, for sure.
So it's just how you bounce back from it.
Facts. Another question I have for you, you lead our marketing department, right? And as a Black-owned firm, why is it so difficult for us to do business in Black communities? Like, why do you think? Like, we're in one of the, we're in the city of Chicago, we're in, the Chicagoland area, a lot of different Black municipalities and cities and so on and so forth. Like, what's your thoughts behind that, especially since we hear so much, hey, we need to buy Black, or we need to, be diverse, diversity this, diversity that?
I stopped listening to the diversity talk a long time ago because it's not real, quite honestly.
Yeah. Speak on it.
But, to answer your question, I think it's a twofold, right? I think it's the the leadership in the communities, right? The local leaders in the community itself too, right? Our communities need to be rebuilt. You know, we need good roadways, especially on the south side of Chicago, right? Yeah. And then on the west side, you have areas in the city, in the city, right? In the city of Chicago, because a lot of people call the city the north side, and that's not. So we got to make that clear. The city of Chicago has sides to it, right, people? So the south side, the west side, you know, those areas need the infrastructure work. And the infrastructure dollars are there. Right, the projects are there, but I think the local leaders kind of are fighting on two ends of the stick. I think they're trying to keep the machine happy, right? But then at the same time, they have their own agendas. But then the question goes to, if I do this in this community, you know, I've heard people even say the community's not going to, you know, appreciate it. They tear everything up. The local leaders need to, you know, be upfront.
Yeah. And I think a lot of it is supported by keeping the community in the dark, right? Because it's an education piece too. How do we get these opportunities? How do we get people to come in and to rebuild our roads and bridges, people that look like us? So many people who drive by a construction site, they don't see anyone from that community working on that site. And quite frankly, that's a shame, but no one says anything about it. A lot of people don't even know that they can say something about it, that they can speak up about it. So a lot of these local elected officials, they're after optics. What I've seen and what blew my mind, they would go to the city hall. Let's say if you're in a black community, as many black people that work in city hall, and you'll throw a construction vest on them, and then they'll take pictures outside of what has just been built to make it seem like the community was involved in building this particular project. I think there's a lot of things that, you know, we need to look at even as a community when we elect people now. What does our community look like currently, right? And why are we in that state? We have to start asking the right questions, right? And if we ask the right questions, I think we'll get the right answer, but so many of us don't know what to ask.
Yeah, and that was the beautiful part about when we were doing BSM. We were able to educate our community in a way, right? And I think that's what's missing. And that's another reason, you know, I'm going to keep saying it, is why I love what we're doing with Pinpoint Scholars Foundation, you know, even with our upcoming, you know, community and equity stakeholder roundtable. It's bringing people to the table. The local leaders have to be able to hear the community, but the community also has to be able to know how to approach that table, right? They have to know the questions to ask, and be involved and stay involved in the conversation. Because what happens is, if they don't feel like nothing they say is being heard, they're not going to speak up, and they're just going to go along with it and just go by pushing along. But that's not what we need in order for us to have the same stakeholder mindset in our communities on the south side, west side, and, you know, like they have in the downtown areas in the north side. We have to take pride in where we live at. In order to be at that table, you got to have pride in that, right? You know, I was raised, you know, luckily in a family that were community activists and business owners. That's all I grew up in. We need to do, even as, you know, minority-owned firms, I think the best way to fix the problem is be more visible. Be more visible. We need to educate, and I think that's what this platform is here for. So I thank you for being here, but at the same time, I have to bring you back because you just said a whole lot. Right? You said how you just gave us a rundown on how to hold our elected officials accountable so we can see change in our community. And that needs to be a segment in itself. Yeah. So
you will be back, number one, to talk about this with me.
I think we should just do a round table the next time.
Yeah, we'll do a round table. We'll even bring some elected officials in, and we'll ask them the tough questions like, why our community look like this?
Right.
I mean, you got some explaining to do.
Yeah, because when you think back, right, if you go back, and I'll make this real quick. If you go back, at one point I went back and I looked at the old city, the old Chicago, right, when 63rd Street didn't look the way it did. Right, before they start rebuilding again. When you go back and you pull up pictures from back in the day, our communities were beautiful.
Yeah.
Inglewood did not look the way that some parts of Inglewood did. And you'll be amazed, right? But back then, you're talking about our grandparents were in the picture.
Yeah.
You know, a different set of rules was in place back then.
But they knew the value of voting. So
exactly.
we're definitely gonna, like I said, we're gonna have its own segment, and we're gonna touch on all of that, because even when we do go to these town hall meetings as businesses, and to hear from aldermen and to hear from the community, we only see the older generation in there advocating. We don't see young people, and it's because young people don't feel like they have a seat at the table and or a voice. So we will touch on that.
And to your point, to your quote, if you don't have a seat at the table, that means you're on the menu. So, that's why I said that quote in the book says so many different things on so many different levels. I think people don't really understand it. Yeah. So we just have to do more of making sure people understand it.
Hey, that's what we here for. That's what we got the podcast.
Absolutely.
And any final thoughts that you want to provide us with?
Yeah, follow On Point with Pinpoint.
Right. What can
follow us. YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Amazon Music, iHeartRadio podcast. Follow at On Point with Pinpoint. Stay in tune with the conversation. Be a part of the conversation. Go online, mypsf.org. Come on the podcast. Sign up. We want to hear from people. We have to hear from people. Because if we don't, then, we can't do this by ourselves, right? So we can sit here and have all the conversations we want to have, but we need to have meaningful impact and conversation. So I just urge everybody to follow the brand. We're doing great things at Pinpoint. Follow the brand.
Subscribe, like, follow. Y'all see the passion of Danielle. Danielle, she's passionate about everything she do, especially about branding and making a difference in the community. And that's why I appreciate everything she does, right?
Thank you.
And I'm so glad that she's here with Pinpoint. You're a breath of fresh air. Keep up the great work. Let's continue just killing it. We're going to continue expanding. We're going to continue to make impact in the community. If there's anything that you want to do, I'm sure you're going to let me know.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? So,
and trust me, everybody, I get on his nerves sometimes. I know I do.
Sometimes. What?
But it comes out all on a better end.
How do we grow? How do we make sure that our viewers are going in the right direction, the young people? If they're not young, how do folks that's in their career really make and build generational wealth? What ways can they go about it? That's the reason I wrote the books. It's the reason why we're doing these podcasts. It's really about building up an entire community.
Absolutely. And, make sure, past following us online, show up. If you really want to see what we're doing, what we're about, meet the team. STEM Expo, May 30th. It's our official launch event for Pinpoint Scholars Foundation. It's show up, psfcommunity.org. You can go to the events page and get your free tickets, right? You're going to be able to connect. Parents, come out with your children. Children, come out with your parents. Come and connect with us and really see the people that we're bringing as resources to the table for our community. We do this. We're not just talking about it, people. We do this. So, stay tuned with us. We have so much stuff coming up, programming, events, scholarship opportunities for the youth. I can't talk enough about how you should get involved, right? So just follow us, like, share, all the things. Pinpoint.
Facts. Don't just talk about it, be about it. We here today with the incredible Danielle Petty. Danielle is a marketing genius. She's the jack of all trades. She came out and she's showing us exactly why she is on the Pinpoint Precision Leadership Team. Thank you so much, Miss Petty, for coming on now.
No problem.